Are you ready to learn how to make these bad boys? Alrighty folks, so we'll begin with the actual macarons themselves. So I've got here 125 grams of almond flour, tablespoon of instant coffee, Nescafe. I've got here a tablespoon of vanilla essence. We're going to need 100 grams of Aquafaba, which is the water from the chickpeas, 65 grams of confectioner's sugar or icing sugar, 100 grams of regular granulated sugar, and a quarter teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. So as a first step, what I want to do is just get 100 ml of the Aquafaba here, making sure I don't get any chickpeas in there, or 100 grams. Okay folks, so you're going to have to get prepared in advance for this. So we're going to start off by first of all sifting our flour and our powdered sugar, icing sugar in there. We want that in a separate bowl just to make sure everything is as smooth without any clumps. Alright, that's all been sifted through. Just going to give that a nice quick mix here. Next, we need to dilute our Nescafe in our vanilla essence. So I'll get that nice and melted. Make sure there's no lumps. Okay, now I'm just going to set that aside. Alrighty folks, shout out KitchenAid, thank you. I wish this was sponsored by them. It's not, it's quite expensive, so you're just going to have to buy one. I'm just going to pour in the Aquafaba in there, and we're going to start whisking. So I'm going to start off slow. Speed up. Okay, it's starting to get somewhere. Okay, I'm just going to lift this up now because I want you to see the peak. You see it's there, there's still a little peak there and it's stable. So what I'm going to do now is add a quarter teaspoon of the apple cider vinegar into it. That's going in. Now that should make a scientific difference. Okay, so now we're at the next phase. Let me just show you quickly. You can see we've got a nice peak there. So the next phase is this. We need to add a tablespoon at a time and let it spin for at least 30 seconds until you add the next tablespoon in, all right? So I'm going to show you the first one. That's been whipped. And we've got a nice, very stiff peak, as you can see here. That's not going anywhere. If I tilt the bowl, nothing. You can also see that it's ready because it's given me a nightmare getting it off this. So if it was runny, then we'd be having a problem. But that's where you want it. All right, folks, that's done. I just want to show you the consistency. As you can see, if I tap it, they stick, the peaks. See that? They're not folding anymore. So what we need to do now is add in our little almond and icing sugar mixture. So this is the part where we've got to be very gentle. So I've got here my little mix of icing sugar and almonds. Now what we do is fold. First of all, I'm just going to try and get that in. Some people do a J shape, down and around, doing it back to front, but well, that way. But you want to be very delicate with this and you don't want to overdo it. You've got to be very careful. You've got to treat it like a lady. If you're still allowed to say that nowadays. Going in again. I get it nice and incorporated. Apparently the reason why they're so expensive is because they're so difficult to make. Now, I'd be very surprised if you get this right the first time, but I'm going to show you some tricks to make sure that you do. Here it sounds all flumpy like that. Now, Nescafe mixture with the vanilla. I'm just going to drop that in, like a marbled texture on the look of it. Make sure you dig right in, because sometimes you'll have bits of the flour and the sugar at the bottom. Now, all I've got here is a little cup, right, and I've got a little bag which I've just put over it. Okay, and what we're going to do now is just fill that in. This is a trick that was taught to me by Becky from Indigo's Vegan Bakery. Now, Becky's awesome. We made vegan red velvet cupcakes and they were absolutely beautiful. If you want to learn how to bake cupcakes as a complete beginner, we did a masterclass on that. I'll put a link at the end so you can see. You can watch and learn how it's done. What I'd like to do is get all the air out. So I've got my piping bag ready here. I tap it, hopefully remove some of the bubbles that are remaining. Bring everything down. I'm going to seal that off and give it a little twist. Okay, so what I have here is my macaroon tray. Got this off Amazon, nothing special, but what we do want is to basically aim for the small circle in the middle, right? And you'll see. All right, so I'm only cutting a snip off like that, right? So I've got my bag here, I'm squeezing it from the top, I'm going from above, right? And squeeze it for about 3 seconds. Lift. Get it? Now, you're going to have some imperfect ones, and that's totally fine because they're going to be your guinea pigs, basically, because there's a process involved. But first things first, you get your tray, right? And we need to tap these down. Bubbles are going to start to rise. Now, it's very, very important that we pop those bubbles because they're going to look really ugly in the end if you don't. Okay, well, I'm out of toothpicks, but I've got a little barbecue skewer here. So, pop that bad boy. Find any more that you've got, give them a pop. Now, there's another phase to this, right? We need to let these sit and dry, at least until you can touch them and they no longer stick to your fingers.
Meanwhile,
here's what we're going to do. As these are going to be probably the first time you make these, we're going to do some experiment ones. Every oven is different. Okay, what happens in my oven may not happen for you. So just for the sake of it, you're going to put 3 there. You're going to give them a tap, and then you're going to split them. You're going to experiment with your oven, right? And you're going to see what's the best temperature that works for you. Let me just show you an example of a really... In fact, I'll try and give you 2 examples here. Wait there. Now, one scenario is your oven's too hot. Okay? They fall down, they start crack, and they've got all these little potholes in there. Not good. That could be literally the difference between 10 degrees. That could cause that to go like that. Next, another scenario. They could look, this one that broke off, right? But basically, they could look fairly perfect on the top, but you pull them off and they're stuck to the bottom or they're hollow on the inside. Okay, that means you didn't cook them for long enough. There's a load of things that I can teach you about this, but I'm going to give you a link to a cheat sheet which I found online that's going to show you the reasons why they go wrong. So don't give up if you don't get it right the first time. Don't expect to get it right the first time. If you do, it's a miracle. Congratulations. You could try this exact recipe on 2 different ovens. One will be perfect, the other one will be totally crap. So yeah, these are the ones you're going to practice with. Move them aside. That's how you get to know the oven that you're using.
5 minutes later.
Alrighty, folks. So this is a little trick. Be very, very careful if you're going to do this. Now, I've already told you a million times, I live in Dublin, Ireland. And there's no way, any reasonable or rational way that these are going to just dry on their own out here. Doesn't matter how long I put them in for. So I'm simulating the temperature of a normal country. So I've stuck these in an oven on 25 degrees C, literally just enough to kind of simulate that warmth. Now, the way you can tell these are going to be dry, I've done that for 30 minutes, by the way. Now, the way you can tell these are dry is if you give them a little tap with your finger, you should see that your finger comes out clean. Now, if you tap it and you see that you're able to rip off pieces with your finger, then you know that it's not ready yet. So these are now ready. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take them out and preheat the oven on 100 degrees C. Alrighty, folks. So these are my little mini macaroons. They've dried out and I've put them in a preheated oven and they've gone in on the second shelf below the top one. I've put them in on 85 degrees C. That's in a fan oven, right? So these are going to go in for 45 minutes. I'm then going to switch the oven off and I'm going to keep them in there for another half an hour or so, and then I'm going to take them out and just let them rest until I can peel them off. Again, each oven varies, so that's why you've got your little dummy ones which you made earlier. They're the ones you're going to test out until you can find the perfect temperature for those. See you when they're done. Now we're going to work on the filling. So 2.5 cups of icing sugar. We're going to need some chocolate shavings. I've got 2 tablespoons of vegan butter, the spreadable type, 2 tablespoons of vegan cream cheese. I'm using Violife. And a teaspoon and a half of plant milk, basically. So, first step, I'll just add everything to our little mix. Except for the chocolate, that's going to go in at the end. Wait with the milk, that's just going to be to dilute it afterwards. I'm just going to beat this till we get like a creamy texture. This is going to go everywhere and I'd rather concentrate on this, so I'll film it once it's a bit cleaner. At this point you can just add in a little bit of plant milk just to get it going. Now, after a while, you'll see that you can just undo it like that if it gets stuck, and then just continue the process. Now at this stage, I'm just going around trying to break up any bits. I could have put this in the mixer as well, doesn't really matter though. Remember our little trick, we're doing it again. I'm going to turn the little macaroons upside down and just in the middle. And of course I forgot to press record on the piping process, but basically you're not a 5-year-old. All you got to do is basically half of them, you put the cream on, and you basically turn them into sandwiches, and they should look something like this. I don't want to lift them, they're a bit fragile. I'm going to pop them in the fridge, let the cream stabilize a bit, and then we'll take care of the chocolate section. I've actually frozen this to make it a bit stiffer, so in theory it should grate quite easily. Let's go ahead and... Alright, so I've got a couple of good tablespoons here, which is all I need for now. This is for demonstration purposes. Let's get the babies out of the fridge. Beautiful people, what's happening? Guys, I just need 20 seconds of your time. I want to give a massive thank you and credit to Chris from oldtwist.com. Old Twist is a family-run business, and Chris has been making these vegan macaroons for over 25 years, and she very kindly gave me the recipe for this. Now, just before I go into this is not a sponsored video. I'm not making a single penny out of this. It's just for fun, and just obviously to raise awareness for vegan-friendly business as well, so it's all good. Now, Chris has very kindly agreed to give a 20% discount to my viewers on whoever orders on the website. Just type in Uncle Lou at the checkout and you'll get that. She makes vegan macaroons, like I said, for over 25 years, so they're way better than mine. Vegan honey, vegan Nutella, and vegan blue cheese, for example. So go and check that out. I'm going to put a link in the description to how you can find her and her Instagram as well. Go and show her some love. She's a lovely, lovely lady. Guys, I hope you enjoy this one. Let me show you the finished product. Beautiful people. Check these bad boys out. So here we have the final product. Vegan tiramisu macaroons. I really hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I enjoyed the result, the end result. Took me a lot of attempts to get this perfect, but here we are in the end. So just to show you, I took a bite out of one so you can see what it's meant to be. As you can see, it's full on the inside. It's not hollowed out. And it's just really, really nice. So, I want to give a massive, massive thanks once again to Chris. She's very kindly offered to give a 20% discount. I'm going to put a link in the description. And the promo code is Uncle Lou. Alright? I'm not doing this for money, I'm doing this for fun. And so if you're based in the US or Canada or Mexico, that's where she ships to. And yeah, just go ahead and place an order. Order these. She's got loads of stuff on there. So, I hope you enjoyed this one. As always, folks, if you like vegan soul food from all around the world, hit the like button, hit subscribe, and do leave a comment down below. I love you all. Ciao for now. See you on the next one. And thanks again for the 6,000 subscribers. On our way to 10. See you next time.